everyone, so moving over to video number 2, so I'm just kind of waffling, I'm just not really talking about anything specific, just things that have happened and, stuff. So I just wanted to briefly touch on in this video executive overwhelm and issues around getting things done that aren't in your routine. Now I think this is very heavily connected to being autistic. I think you could probably also relate if you have ADHD, because there's a lot of intersection. Obviously I was also diagnosed with ADHD, although I'd say my primary presentation is autistic, but that could also explain part of it as well. And I think also, obviously, if you've got mental health problems, that can also, you can also experience that. And if you've got all 3 of those conditions, it can be experienced even more. But yeah, basically just executive overwhelm. So basically, at this time of year, I tend to get up very, very late. That's to say, I don't tend to awake until at least 8:30 a.m, sometimes later. It's just because I don't set an alarm. I don't really need to set an alarm, so I never bother, and I hate alarms. I hate alarms waking me up, so I never set them. There's nothing worse than being asleep and then waking up with an alarm going off. It just makes you groggy for the rest of the day, so I never set alarms. Yeah, this time of year I do tend to get up very, very late. In the summer, however, when it starts getting very light in the mornings, I tend to be up by around 5, sometimes even earlier, but I accommodate that by going to bed a lot earlier. So in the summer, I often am in bed by 8:30 or 8 o'clock, because I do need a lot of sleep. This is the thing, I need a lot of rest, because it's exhausting with OCD. But in the summer I do tend to get up a lot earlier, because I wake up so early in the summer, because I wear a sleep mask, but I still wake up earlier in the summer anyway. I accommodate it by going to bed like really early, just to ensure I get enough sleep, because I'm not someone who's very good on not enough much sleep. In the winter, so this time of year, however, I go to bed more like... By the way, this is the other thing, I don't change my clocks. I don't change my clocks. So I'm still operating on the summertime, basically. I know what the real time is, because my computer clock is automatically changes, and I just can do a simple, oh yeah, I just... Basically, I don't often really need to know that anyway, because I hardly ever deal with people. I'm basically a hermit, so I'm aware of the real time that other people are operating on. But as I'm a hermit, it doesn't really concern me. I stick to very, very strict routines anyway that that only I can alter, and then I do so gradually in line with the change in light cycles. So yeah, hence why in the summer I'm in bed by about 8 o'clock to 8:30, but I get up at about 4:35 a.m. In the winter I'm in bed by at the solstice, around kind of when it's very, very dark, around December time. My bedtime's more like 11 p.m, but bear in mind, I don't change the clocks, so for other people that'll be 10 o'clock, but I'm talking about the time I'm operating by. That's, so other people it'll be 10 o'clock, for me it's 11 o'clock. And again, I tend not to get up until my time, like the summertime. I tend not to get up until 9 a.m, so that's other people's time, that'd be about 8 a.m, or sometimes even later, because I don't set alarms, and I just get up when I want to get up, and I just let myself get up naturally without forcing it, because I struggle so much with anxiety and mental health. Like, when I'm in bed, that's the only time I can actually relax. It takes me ages when I get into bed, it often takes me quite a while to actually properly relax, and when I wake up in the morning and I'm feeling relaxed, why do I want to spoil that when it's the only time I get where I can actually feel relaxed? Hence why I often don't get out of bed for ages, because I just want to stay in that state, because I'm anxious so much. And if that's the only time and place I can relax, then I need to give myself that opportunity. But anyway, obviously that does mean that there aren't that many hours in a day for me to do stuff, which is very frustrating, because I do want to be doing lots of stuff. I want to be doing lots of things, and there's just no way in living hell that I could do all of it. And this is, I think it comes down to executive overwhelm. When your brain is basically so anxious all the time, 24/7, it results very little cognitive, there's very little cognitive bandwidth for much else. And when you're autistic, like I am, I have to follow very, very strict and rigid routines. These routines that I set, and those routines revolve around my interests. And sometimes doing videos like this one when I feel inclined, which is also one of my interests. But yeah, it's been neglected a little bit. But I do try and do YouTube when I can. But yeah, it heavily revolves around my interests. And those interests involve a lot of crafting. It's funny, I got into crafting a couple of years ago, and then it really took off, and I had to get up practically every single book under the sun. I had to try pretty much every single craft. So yeah, crafting. But again, the problem is that I've got so many craft projects I want to do. Knitting, using a knitting loom, needles, and then I want to try and make books, like accordion books, little models, and I'm like, what one do I do? And it's overwhelming, and there's so many of them, and I worry I'm not going to be able to do all of them. Then that makes me anxious. Again, I start fixating on it, and I'm obsessing about it, and I can't think about anything else because I'm constantly thinking, oh, I've got to do that. Oh, but there's no time because I get up so late. At least in the winter, in the summer, I get up at 5, but then I have to water the plants, and that takes most of the morning. So yeah, I guess I just don't have any time. And then again, I get stressed because then if everything's dusty and I can't do all the cleaning and it's too overwhelming, and I'm aware I should be doing the cleaning but I don't know where to start. And then if I do the cleaning and I won't have enough time for my interest, again I won't have any meaning in my life, and the stuff that gives me solidity and helps in my OCD, I won't be able to do, and that will make me feel crap. So it's like, what do you do? And it's just so overwhelming and stressful. And that also by the way, often, unless I'm really, really motivated to speak to someone, I can very, very easily just block them out. And then I think sometimes people think I don't care and stuff. In order to kind of invest in meeting people online, because I'm housebound, like groups and that, so there are lots of autism groups that I could be attending, and I feel guilty because I'm not attending them at the moment. And planning groups and that, I've been kind of neglecting that lately, just because I can't be asked. It's not kind of at the forefront of my motivation pattern, if you like. So if I do invest time in someone, it obviously means they're very special to me. But the problem is that I need to have the motivation there, and it's often just not there. And because I'd rather be following my interests. And if something isn't at the forefront of my interest, I just can't be bothered. It's like I have this extreme apathy over it. Again, you have to kind of email to say why you weren't there, and that's too much effort as well when I'm not even interested in doing that. And I think this comes down to this autism thing of kind of monofocus, and if something's not in your monofocus or not in your area of fixation or interest or routine or pattern, it can very easily just become dumped to the side, and you can end up neglecting it, and then that can end up making people irritated, or you can end up not following commitments because they're currently not in your. That's part of the reason why there's no way in living in I could hold a job. Aside from the fact I can't hold a job anyway because I'm OCD, but yeah, maybe I don't know whether this is also an ADHD thing as well, where it might well be where you kind of get fixated on something, but then you can't keep up a commitment if it ends up boring you. I don't know. That might also be a part of an ADHD thing as well. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. I think I'm just saying that basically I follow very strict routines, and if something interferes with my routine because I'd rather be doing my solitary interest and I'm just not interested enough, I won't attend. Hence why there are lots of groups I've joined up to and I often won't attend unless if I have to be extremely motivated to attend. Basically, there has to be something there that motivates me to do it. Which is why, obviously, if I do put time in, it's because something is very, very, very important to me. And obviously, if something's very, very important to me, then it's basically something I won't neglect at all. But if something isn't important to me, or it doesn't matter enough for whatever reason, that motivation curve isn't there. So then I'm far more likely to neglect it in favour of pursuing my solitary interests. Anyway, thank you for watching.